Something I've come to realize is that the existence of creative leadership resources itself has already become a good illustration of what I hope to accomplish through the existence of creative leadership resources. So I spent the past decade helping to build and lead a faith-based nonprofit where we both experimented with and taught about alternative forms of Christian community. In other words, we were dedicated to studying and learning what goes into forming healthy, vibrant, authentic community. And we were committed to practicing, engaging in experiments and expressions of community, helping people see what could be, what was possible. And then we were also committed to teaching others in a variety of ways what we learned and what we were learning. So while we were all involved to one degree or another with both the experiment with and the teach about aspects, my primary focus and area of leadership was on the teach about side. This made perfect sense given how we got started. In 2009, I had begun working on a doctoral program in missional leadership at SMU. I was encouraged while I was there in my first class, I was encouraged to meet with a professor on campus that was interested in many of the very things that people heard me saying I was hoping to create and accomplish through my studies. Now, as it turned out, this professor and another person had just in the past few weeks begun discussing, having conversations around what would eventually develop into the first phase of the experiment with side of this future nonprofit. I was planning to focus my dissertation on the effectiveness of combining online learning with guided local practice to train leaders in the midst of their context, to be leaders in that context. And so by the end of my first conversation with this professor, my vision had already begun expanding from just a dissertation and what I might do with it in my own local community into what would become the teach about side of a nonprofit. So I designed and oversaw our flagship educational program, which was a 2-year process that prepared people to create or support others in creating new communities. Over the years, we helped people start churches, nonprofits, community organizations, a wide variety and expressions of social entrepreneurship. So I was also responsible for developing and leading our coaching and coach training efforts, which included not only providing individual coaching to our students and others who came to us in different ways, but also included designing a robust coach training process and certification process that met the standards and requirements for the International Coaching Federation, or ICF, approved coach training program. So all throughout this time, with the work I was doing within this organization, as well as projects that I was doing freelance on the side, I knew that the work I was doing could benefit a much larger audience than that which our faith-based nonprofit was serving. I had numerous opportunities to do formal and informal work in higher education contexts, and as well as with public K-12 schools, local chambers of commerce, small business owners, managers and leaders in large corporations, and even people seeking to transition from positions in large corporations to start their own business. Time and again, I realized that the challenges I help people address in coaching and in training, and the processes for effectively moving beyond those challenges were the same. They were the same across industries, the same across the country. Now, the details and specifics are always contextual. Outcomes, products, always contextual, even within the same industry, or over time, even within the same organization. But the deeper issues are fairly consistent. And the processes I was teaching or engaging through coaching for effectively leading, for creating and sustaining positive change, these apply across contexts because they are focused specifically on those processes of engaging your context and your culture. It's a process of noticing what is, imagining what could be, and co-creating what is becoming. And so I often envision myself someday branching out with my own company to bring this creative work to a broader audience. I did see that as something I would do down the road. Now, partly it's because I believed in and was deeply invested in, even consumed by the work we were doing in our nonprofit. And there was also the reality that my commitment to this nonprofit work meant I didn't have anything resembling startup capital for a new project. In fact, I had taken on considerable debt over the years just to be able to continue this work I was doing. This wasn't a huge issue. I wasn't concerned about this because I did believe in the work we were doing. It was worth investing in. It was worth sacrificing for. And I knew that if and when the time was right and I was ready to start thinking about something new, I could develop strategies and pathways to overcome the financial issues. And then my world changed. And a few weeks later, the entire world changed. So during the first week of 2020, I found out that due to budget concerns, the rest of our leadership team had decided that at the end of the second week of 2020, I would receive my final paycheck. And just like that, it was over. Suddenly, I needed to turn my someday down the road idea into a 3 weeks from now idea. So by early February, Creative Leadership Resources was an officially registered LLC in the state of Texas. And we'd already begun conversations with several potential clients and pretty quickly landed our first 2 paid contracts. And then March happened, and the world shut down. And so did nearly every one of our conversations with potential clients. As things continued to either unravel or remain in a seemingly perpetual state of wait and see, depending on your perspective, we had to get increasingly creative. The odd small project here, a barter arrangement there, combined with a full-scale, across-the-board, money-saving intervention. Meanwhile, I also got to work creating templates, outlines, first drafts of online courses and trainings and workshops that could be deployed as soon as opportunities began to arise. I brushed off the coach training program that, as of December 2019, was ready to submit for ICF approval and completely redesigned it to function effectively as a fully online process tailored to the vision and context of Creative Leadership Resources. So bringing my vision of this company to life and keeping it that way through the upheaval of 2020, both my own individual story as well as our collective story of humanity, it has required me to utilize every resource, every coaching skill, every design principle and emotional intelligence competency I have and that I wanted to bring to the world through this company. So in a sense, Creative Leadership Resources' first steady client has been Creative Leadership Resources. And personally, I feel like it's already been a successful partnership.